Yeah, man, it's the 18th of June, 2028. And in this video, I'm going to update my gang stalking situation and I'm going to talk about a few things. One, the community post that I made about 2 days ago, I think is very important for if you get a chance to just go and read it. It's talking about um, broadcast in general and some of the characteristics of it and photography. And when you see me posting all these pictures, like, what do they mean? Like, what is it? What am I doing? How am I doing that? And this article that I wrote, basically it's like an article 2 days ago, and I put it in the community section, and I posted it in all the groups that I run on Facebook, and then some of the other bigger, larger groups as well. And it just goes over all of it in a and not in a very technical advanced way, but in a basic way of basic understanding, just to give you kind of a starting point to understand what I'm doing. And if you wanted to start doing the same thing and talking about broadcast in general, and I think it'll help all of you guys understand. So if you get a chance, the communities tab on my channel, go and read the article. And it's 2 days ago. It's about, it starts off about, EMF broadcast photography or something like that. So you'll be able to find it. It's not long, but it's longer than most community posts. Okay, it's probably 7 or 8 or 10 paragraphs and some pictures and just a whole thing to go over all of that. Okay. Secondly, these gang stalkers that I'm dealing with. In this channel, I've named people over the years, and I want to tell you that I stand by it. If I've talked about people supposedly being like the leaders of this gang stalking group or having access to my social medias or using stuff like that to do their live streams, and or if I've made reports and did videos about the reports I've made to FBI or police reports or any of that, which I've done many of a lot of those, and to no avail, no response ever, not even once, even when I have uh, credible evidence. Okay, and I'm not talking about broadcast when I go to these police. Obviously, they're not going to do anything about that. What I'm talking about is things that I can prove with hacking and my devices and stuff like that. But they don't want to open up that pathway to what's really going on. So of course they're going to ignore it. Um, they don't, typically people think the police are involved or the police are behind it or whatever, but they're not. If you know many police people, which I don't, but I know a couple, and I've dealt with quite a few filing all these reports and things like that. And they typically are just regular people. They have nothing, they don't have a clue about what's going on. And it's very common for a police department, a local department, even in large city areas that with people, millions of people, they don't have the resources to deal with that kind of thing because they don't have the knowledge. They don't understand about computer science type of things, and they don't have a department for cyber crimes and stuff like that. And if they have to wait for something horrible to happen and then refer it to the FBI. And you can't go directly to the FBI without having a referral from a local department. If you've been through that process, you know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, I stand by it. The people that I've named, they are gang stalkers. They do have neural monitoring, and they do know who these guys are on my neural monitoring, and they are all part of an organized group. Okay, so you would call them a gang or a terrorist organization or whatever you want to call them, but they're gang stalkers. Okay, it's very important to realize as well that everybody that has neural monitoring is not gang stalkers. Okay, this is just not the truth. Okay, if you typically what you'll find is that the ones who are gang stalkers they fall into certain categories. A lot of them are like drug addicts, and that's what kind of people they are. And a lot of them are also rejects of society. Okay, they have nothing else better going on. It's not like they're popular people or girls like them, or they have some special skills that make people like them or something like that. So they've taken neural monitoring and used it as a weapon in a way that makes them feel better about themselves. I still don't want to go into the psychological of their sickness, okay? Because they are sick people. That does that mean that they deserve treatment? I don't think so. I think they deserve death by capital punishment for broadcast torture because of their persistence. Okay, if you go and you do something to somebody, and yeah, yeah, well, we were all attacking him with our broadcast. It was kind of got out of hand, blah blah blah. That's one thing. Okay, that I can understand a hysteria, a mob mentality. I can understand how they fall into an influential type of thing where everybody was doing it, so we attacked him with our broadcast. But then you got the type of gang stalkers that we deal with, the people that sit there on broadcast, okay, with mind control headsets on and putting their broadcast within to your body, on your body, and doing this in a persistent way that where they have a long-term goal and a plan, and they've plotted out this whole thing and said, okay, well, we're going to attack, for example, we're going to attack his right foot every single day for, all these hours. And then in time, he'll be limping around, his foot will be curling up, and he'll be physically disabled, and that'll cause him to not be able to do certain things that we seem to have a problem with. My headphones keep clicking on and off. Every time I start doing a video, it's like boom, boom. It's like they're connecting and reconnecting and unconnecting, and I always feel like it's them trying to do stuff like that. They're always trying to do stupid stuff. Every other day I got MacBook Pros and brand new iPhones, just acting like they went straight retarded, and like have all kinds of malfunctions. And it has to do with gang stalkers and their virtual machines and the administration and everything that's going on. That's why I'm doing computer science. And I'll be doing it up to the point of master's degree, and because I want to defeat them. And what I've realized at this point is that yes, I do have the mental capacity to do well in this field. It's not easy. It's confusing and complicated sometimes, but just like with them, they want to persistently do something to cause this damage. Well, I want to persistently learn about something to cause them damage. Okay, let me show you my right foot. All right, so this is my right foot. Now I want to just show you that on my right foot, I would say from about here all the way around this area. So like this whole area right here. And there's a lot of veins right there. There's some bones right there. And typically they'll put their broadcast there. Now, right now, I can tell that they've removed the broadcast from that area. Yesterday, I was on an airplane. And before I got on the airplane, as soon as I got to the airport, once I became a public person, all right, then they put their broadcast on my foot. And it hurts so bad. It was so bad yesterday. I'm a grown man. You might even say a tough guy or whatever you want. I have a high pain threshold, or I'm not a weenie, period. And I wanted to cry, man. It hurt that bad. I wanted to cry. I was just like, like just that bad. And a lot of times in public, a lot of times when they're doing this broadcast and I'm not in public, I'll take a bright flashlight, a very bright flashlight, okay? It's very bright. I'll take this very bright flashlight and I'll just put it on my foot on the area where they're attacking. And what it does is it disrupts the broadcast. It disrupts their broadcast, and lasers work the same way, even better. Lasers work even better, but the bright light is more covering more area. If it's a super bright light, it'll mess up their broadcast, and they'll put it right back. They can put it right back as soon as you quit doing it. But it's so much of a difference when it hurts so bad you want to cry, and you can make it go away for like 2 minutes while you beam yourself with a flashlight. It makes a huge difference. It really does. And as soon as you do that, you'll see that it disrupts their broadcast, and they're not able to continue until you quit. And when you quit, then they'll continue and start again, and it'll hurt some more. But it's like a reset. It it gives you a minute to breathe, and it's like, whew. So, and another thing, it's like as soon as you think about, like if it happens so often to me now with things like that, and they also attack my heart all the time. They're always broadcasting in my mouth. My teeth stay loose, and they broadcast in my neck, all up in here. Now, they do these things so much, especially the foot, that when they're not doing it, I'm like, wow, they're not attacking my foot. This is great. And immediately they will start attacking my foot because they know what you're thinking. They know what you're thinking, and it's very difficult. You can say, "Oh, well, don't think about it. Why you don't do that?" So I just did. I just did, and now, it's like if you can realize something, and I'm one of those people that I realize a lot of things, and there's always something going through my mind, and I notice little things all the time, and anything that I think of, it's like ammunition to them, and they use it as opportunity. But I want to be very serious about documenting like certain things that they do all the time because I believe that my right foot in that area, when they start cooking it from the inside out, I believe that over time that there's going to be noticeable internal damage that can be easily related to broadcast torture because there's no other way to show that that's happening. And it's literally caused me to limp around, and my foot, when they're doing it for hours at a time, it starts wanting to curl up, and it's just hurts so bad. I'm a grown man wanting to cry, and then they quit, and it's like it's all good, no problem, other than the slightest little bit of not even pain so much as, but just like I can tell that there's actual damage because they do it so frequently. So that's one of the big things that they do. The attack in my heart area, I feel like that's attempted murder. I feel like that's something that, in my neck too. And the teeth, anything where they're broadcasting your mouth, they're deteriorating your gums, this stuff melts your flesh at a very slow pace. And these guys, they're not somebody that got caught in a hysteria. They're not somebody that just did something because everybody else is doing it. These are guys that are sitting around doing this every day, and they have long-term goals over the course of months, years, and longer. They want to cause certain kind of damage. They want to kill you. They want you to die from it, but they don't want it to look obvious that they killed you. They want you to become physically disabled and not be able to be active, to become less healthy, to become less of a threat to them or anybody else, to just have to sit there like a gimp all day, every day. They want that for you, and that's their goal, and they actually work towards it. That's why I think that they deserve the death penalty. That's why I think they deserve capital punishment, because they didn't just do something and like, I can't believe I did that. It's something that they think about. It's something that they work towards every day. It's a long-term goal. And when you have long-term goals, you get long-term results, and it's not an accident. And when you're trying to kill people and you're trying to disable people with long-term torture and attempted murder, that's genocide, and that you should be killed by death penalty, by capital punishment legally. You should be killed for that. That's what I think would be the best solution for these gang stalkers that use broadcast to torture. Another thing, I just spent a little while in California, and it's my first time ever going to California. And I was in the San Francisco area, Oakland, San Francisco, all around that area for a while. And the first thing that happened, I just want to tell you guys some of the stories, because some people tell you the gang stalking is really bad there, but in my experience, my gang stalking is the same no matter where I go, because it's 4, 5, 6 idiots on broadcast, and they can do it even when you're 2,000 or 3,000 miles from where you live. They can still do exactly what they do, and they do it in a more empowered way because they have no worries that you might show up somewhere that them or their people are to try to defend yourself or anything else. So they do it in a more empowered way. The first thing that happened when I got there was a lady said, be careful because you're going to get your windows smashed out. It's real bad about smash and grabs, and, be careful. And then I got to my hotel, and there was a girl out there on the phone with the police saying, or somebody saying, "Oh, I didn't realize, I left stuff in the car and blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, great, great. I'm gonna be here for a while, and this is what I got to worry about." Um, but I'll tell you this, it was not so much of that. I'm very careful, and maybe I'm sure that that kind of thing goes on a lot because otherwise everybody wouldn't be talking about it. And I talked to another guy who was telling me how this truck got stolen, and there's always people breaking in cars and stuff like that. And um, somebody told me that it was best to just leave your windows open and say, hey, there's nothing in here. Please don't break my windows to find out. So I never left anything in the car. If I did, even just to run in the gas station, sometimes I would like take my backpack with me or like park right up front or something and then watch the whole time because people acted like it's the worst thing. But I honestly didn't see any of that happening. I just saw all the preventative measures. Even the place I was staying, they had a security guy that literally sat there in a police car in the parking lot all night by the gate, guarding the cars and the gate and stuff like that. And so I know that kind of stuff goes on, and it's really wild to see the homeless epidemic in person, up close. Um, you actually can just be driving around and you look down the street and there's tents and RVs and cars and all of this stuff everywhere. And I'm not talking about like typical cars and RVs. You can tell this stuff doesn't drive. People don't use it to drive around. This stuff is shelter, and they're just lined up down streets all over the place. And it's homeless camps. They have laws that say that they're not allowed to tow them away or do anything like that. Um, and I do see the problems with a lot of that stuff is that there's just garbage and stuff everywhere, and unfortunately, it's pretty typical that if a bunch of people are homeless, that a lot of them are on drugs, and if a bunch of people are homeless and on drugs, then a lot of them are criminals, and so everything's stolen and broken into and all that stuff. But um, I was very cautious the whole time. A lot of things are very expensive there. Gas was like $5.30 a gallon, I think, and it cost me like $110 to fill up the truck I was driving. And I went to a Oakland A's game when they were playing my home team, Atlanta Braves. I went to the Golden Gate Bridge and did a little tour boat out over around Alcatraz and all of that stuff, and just kind of went around the Bay Area and sightseeing, and touched the Atlantic. I mean the Pacific Ocean. I'm sorry, I'm from the other side, so um, it was nice. I like the weather. As soon as the sun goes down, it gets cool instantly, like very cool. And this is like mid to northern, a little bit California, so I'm sure it's different in different places. But in this area, it gets really cool as soon as the sun goes down. But otherwise, it didn't rain anytime I was there. I like the rain, but I also like the dry climate. I feel like overall it might be more healthy for my particular bodily structure. I feel like the dry area, where I'm from, it's always 100% humidity. Sweat doesn't work correctly. If you know about air conditioning takes the moisture out of the air, and that's how it cools the air. And if you ever notice, like like a window unit air conditioner will be like dripping water everywhere, or like if you have one of those indoor little units that has the tube that goes and you got to empty the water out of it, it's because air conditioning takes the water from the air, and that's how it cools the air. But um, as soon as I got out there, I started seeing all these videos, these advertising videos on like YouTube and everywhere else, where it's like showing all of these homemade like air conditioning type of things where they're using water, and it's like using some kind of water fan technologies and different things, but basically they're adding water to the air, and I guess that works a little better out there. It kind of goes against the principle of air conditioning in the first place, but the air is so much more dry out there, so I guess it kind of works better. But um, overall, like the process of evaporation, when you sweat and it evaporates, and that causes cooling, and so your sweat works properly out there. And in Atlanta, where I'm from, when you sweat, it rolls down your face and you're tasting salt and your eyes are burning and your shirt's wet. And all you did was walk outside to check the mail, and that's how it is in Atlanta, especially in the summertime, which seems to last most of the year. But anyway, another thing about California was that they have a lot of things that are banned, like any kind of things that you smoke that have flavors in them, including like menthols, cigarettes, or any kind of flavored smoking items or anything like that. It's all banned. They have taxes on other things like sugar. Um, a lot of things cost a lot, but then some things were the same. Like, it's pretty much the same to go to McDonald's, but which wasn't the case when I went to Seattle. When I went to Seattle, it was more like almost double for McDonald's or KFC, but in California, it was pretty much the same, but a lot of other things were more expensive. It cost me like $40 just to park in San Francisco, just to park the car for like a couple hours. And so that was pretty wild. And anyway, the whole time, the neural monitoring doesn't stop at all. I didn't get gang stalked by people out there, and I know that there's people out there that have neural monitoring. I'm glad that they've decided not to become involved with my gang stalking situation and join up with these idiots that want to scream like deranged transsexuals and girl cartoon voices and attack my body and put their broadcast into my body and just cook me alive and do all of these stupid things. I would appreciate it even more if somebody just hand me the link, go to this site, or here's the instructions to run on your terminal to connect to this and that or whatever. Like, I wish I could completely get the hookup on neural monitoring, but I guess I'm not really in that position now. I've become so jaded and so angry, and I want to. It's not like I'm just angry at the world, okay? But I think that what's going on is so wrong that I think that there needs to be. I think that there needs to be awareness, and I think that there needs to be consequences. I think that the people that are doing this, it's just I don't want them to be able to do this to people. Okay, and my solution is everybody has to have their own neural monitoring, but the overall solution is probably not going to come to that. It would probably be, if it gets bad enough, it might be something more like they turn it off, and when they turn it off, then it exists, and if it exists, but only the government has it or whatever, then is that really what you want? It kind of takes the power away from the people. And it's all bad right now, what's happening and what could happen with it, because it's not going to be something that they're just going to give to everybody, which is the only real solution. And I think in 100 years, that'll be the real situation of what happens, is that everybody will have it. And if somebody's not comprehensive enough to understand it, then they will have like somebody that has it for them, like a custodian. And broadcast torture will become less prominent. Right now, it's just they just do whatever they want to. I'm very concerned. They still do all kinds of molesting with broadcast. They want to put their broadcast on your genitals and attack you and put it in your bone structure and have you limping around, and then they attacking your heart, and you're sitting there scared. You're scared you're going to die from it. But they do it all the time anyway. And then they love to scream in stupid little voice settings, and they're just deranged. They love to be on mind control, but they're deranged. They're living this broadcast reality, which is intertwined with actual humans in the actual world. It's not like a virtual reality. It doesn't exist. It doesn't affect anybody. It affects people greatly. It's affecting health, and it's affecting my future, and they're attacking me. They're attacking my family. They're doing all of these things. And so how can it not be my goal to try to build myself into somebody that can destroy them with knowledge and financial means and credibility and support? How can I not try to build myself into that? It has to be my goal in life because, like I said, they're attacking me. They're attacking my family. They're stealing my future. They're committing genocide. I can't do nothing. I can't just say, oh, please, somebody give me my neural monitoring so I can just look the other way and walk off, and they could just start doing it to the next person. They've been trying to kill me and my family with broadcasts for a decade. Yeah, I mean, they'll do it to somebody else if I got it tomorrow. They'll do it to somebody else. Somebody has to stop these people, and spreading the knowledge about how it all works, and making sure that targeted people become unified in a direction to go, to become knowledgeable enough to make this thing undeniable, and to make it very difficult to look the other way. That has to be our goal. It has to be. And if it's not our goal, then we don't care about our own lives. And it's not how I want to spend my life. It is trying to become somebody in a position to win a war, but it's just part of life. It's what happens. And if somebody's waging war against you, and you can't just go and have a leisure, of life and do whatever you want to. You have to defend your life. You have to engage in this war. And right now, it's a war about knowledge. And they want to keep you from learning. They want to keep you learning is prohibited. They'll attack you way more if you start learning. Is that going to stop you? I hope not. But they're going to attack you anyway. You're going to surrender your future. I mean, I would never. I'll never surrender my future. I'm stuck with them now. I've been stuck with them for a decade, but I won't be stuck with them forever. And I won't lose. If I don't die first, I will win this war. Anyway, that's what's going on in my life now. That made me want to cry on an airplane thousands of miles away from them by a broadcast attacking my foot. They're still using broadcast to molest, doing like gay molesting. They're still attacking my heart. It's still attempted murder. They're still begging for a man's attention every second of every day. They're still doing their live streams. Please, though, if you get a chance, just to get a basic understanding, and it's not just talking about editing photos, but it is kind of the subject, but it talks about how broadcast works and what they're doing in general. This article that I wrote 2 days ago, and it's in the communities tab. Just read it, like 8 paragraphs or something like that, and try to have a general understanding of how this works. I've never come on here and just made up a bunch of stuff that I have about a theory or something like that. It's not a theory. It's not stuff that I made up. These are things that I learned. I know gang stalkers. I know how this stuff works, and I just bring you what I know. That's all I'm doing. Bringing you what I know, and I'm using this channel for that, and I'm using it to document what's happening to me with gang stalking and broadcast. So, anyway, I'll be back on again soon. You guys, thanks for watching.